over to game three of the NBA Finals here as we go to Indiana. Catching 5.5 points here at home, happening on Wednesday night. Total sitting right around the same number, 228 in this game here, as far as the total goes here, Mac. But what are your thoughts on game three between the Thunder and the Pacers?
So it is 0-7 this season. Lost twice to the Grizzlies. Uh, lost three times to the Nuggets. One of them they won straight up, and lost twice to the Timberwolves. One of those, they were up not or five in the last minute. Foul game, three game, ended up losing. Like I don't. When I look at ATS trends, that's why the margin is often so much more telling than the actual record. It's not. It's not like okay, you won by 2 points on the road in the Timberwolves. You're expected to win by three. You're worse than I expected. You might have been better than I expected. It has much more to do with the performance than the actual margin. So I say that to ward off any criticism of betting against no 0-7 trend. But Coach, I like the Thunder laying the five. I got five. It's good for them to be 5.5. So $50 fine at the Pacers. Here's my main handicap. The Thunder grew up against the Nuggets. A lot of people said it. I thought it was accurate. They were much better statistically throughout the season, but they hadn't been punched in the mouth. They hadn't faced the championship gauntlet that the Nuggets starters had, Nikola Jokic had, and it took 7 games for them to really convince themselves that they were worthy of this championship and then play like it. I've upgraded the Thunder since then. They've won the Timberwolves in five, which I expected. I thought it might be 5 or 6. I didn't think it would go 7. And they did lose to the Pacers. We talked about game one, but they also beat the Pacers. So net, I've given them a slight upgrade since that Nugget series. They were laying 5.5 to 6 points in game three of the Nugget series in the exact same script. Blew game one despite a double-digit fourth quarter lead. Same with the Nuggets, same with the Pacers. Blew out game two where it wasn't close. The fourth quarter, the scrubs came in. Yeah, against the Nuggets, it was 40 points. Against the Pacers, it was 16 points. Don't see a lot of difference there, honestly. Could have gone, either direction once the scrubs came in. Game three, they're laying 5.5 to 6. However, so all of that's the same. Maybe the Nuggets and the Pacers are the same. I disagree. My power ratings disagree. But so does the market in a way. Because versus the Nuggets, the Thunder were minus 400 to win the series after it was 1-1 going to Denver. And versus Pacers, they're minus 525. So the series market, which I think is more professional money, or at least more serious money, people don't lay five to win one recreationally, casually. So that's one market. And the finals market, where there's more pizza money, there's more of the layman getting his action in there and saying, hey, I could see the Pacers pulling an upset. That market is a lot tighter. That market, the side is 5.5, even though the series market says it should be 6.5 or 7. So I think we're getting a point and a half of value just right there. Um, and then there's some trends that fall in here that also back up the Thunder. Teams that won and covered in game two, and then our road favorites in game four. 58%, if you go back the whole database, they are 0-5 this year. However, short sample, it just provides more opportunity. In the finals, teams that won and covered in game two and now are road favorites in game three, they're 3-0 straight up in ATS. And by the way, if you're a 5+ favorite, 5 points to 8 points. So in this window, you're 60%. That's not the finals, that's all playoffs. And it kind of makes sense to me that there's the whole zig-zag theory. People put a lot of emphasis on teams coming home and playing well, but that almost exclusively applies to favorites. When you're an underdog, you can have the engine at 10. You can have Tyrese Halliburton saying, hey, I'm going to be super aggressive in the first half. By the way, I think he will be. I think his points and assists at 21.5 may be a way, if you disagree with my overall handicap, you can bet on the Pacers and hedge out a little bit. But when you're the underdog, it's assumed that you're going to give all in efforts to save your season, but you can only turn the amp up so high. These trends where it says, all right, now you have to win because you just lost, because yada yada yada, really doesn't apply to underdogs as much. Um, so um, even though, yeah, this season, if you're just betting teams that lost the previous playoff game, you're doing great. I understand that. But over the
Yeah.
last 20 years, it's like 51% if you lost in the playoffs like the Pacers did, and now you're playing again. All right, it's something. It's not absolutely nothing, but I'm not going to be prisoner of the last of this year's data. I'm going to go back to what's worked for me the last, 5 years as a handicapper, which is to bet the better team unless there's a good reason not to. And yeah, the Pacers have a great home court, kind of. I mean, statistically, they're not amazing, but you definitely feel it when you're watching the game. And people have talked about kind of like the Thunder, they have one of the better home courts. But I'm not going to put them on the same par as Denver where you actually have not only a great home crowd, but like a physical ailment, a physical obstacle in a high altitude. So the fact that these are the same lines, even though I think the Nuggets are a way better team, even though I think the Thunder have been upgraded in the interim, and even though I think the Nuggets have a better home court advantage, it doesn't make sense to me. I think maybe this closes six, maybe there's too much Pacers love out there or Thunder's hate out there where it doesn't move. But at 5.5, I think it's an opportunity. I laid it and I would recommend laying it. That's my best bet.